Today's module is on adverse possession and possessory title. Adverse possession was used in the registry system, whereas possessory title is used in the land title system. What is adverse possession and possessory title? As you can see in our picture, Joe on the right feels he should own the tree as he has possession of it. Mason feels he should own the tree as his name is on title. The question is, can Joe take title to the tree simply by possessing it? Let's look at what the law says. If a person occupied land for the required period of time is set out in the Provincial Limitations Act, which is 10 years for privately owned property and 60 years for Crown-owned property, then ownership in the land could go from the legal owner to the squatter. That is, if this application that they made is successful. In order for possession to be transferred from the owner of the land to the squatter, possession during that 10 or 60-year period had to be actual, open, notorious, continuous, and exclusive. What does that mean exactly? Let's have a look at each one of these components individually. To meet the requirement of actual possession, the land had to have been actually used by the claimant or the squatter without the approval of the owner, and used in a way that the true owner may have used it. So what does that mean? Let me give you an example. I own a piece of property that's about 16 acres. The back of my property, there's another 5 or 6 acres owned by somebody else. On our property, we have a small house, and we heat only with wood. So we cut wood off of our property in order to heat our house. We also cut wood off of the property that abuts to ours. So basically, we're cutting wood on our neighbor's property. So, are we using that property in the way that the owner or the true owner may use it? Most likely. The property is no good for having cattle on it, and it's no good for raising crops on it, and basically it's really only good for cutting wood on, and that's what we're doing it. So are we using it in a way that the true owner may have used it? Yes. Are we using it without approval of the owner? Yes. The owner has never told us we could or could not use the land, even though he knows we are using it. So have we met actual possession? Yes, we've met actual possession. What is the next thing that we have to meet? The next requirement that we have to meet is open. Let's look at open and notorious together. Open means that the use and the occupation has to take place in an open and visual manner so that anybody else, particularly the true owner, may know or could have known or regularly observed the use of it. Are we doing that? Absolutely. The owner walks through that property on occasion. He can see that we're cutting wood on it. And I know for a fact that he's seen us cutting wood on it. Has he ever said anything to us about it? No. So, are we using it in an open manner? Yes. Are we using it in actual manner? Yes. 2 requirements met. So what does notorious mean? Notorious means to use another's land in a hostile way, intending to hold a particular recognizable boundary regardless of the true boundary line. So are we doing that? Yes. Basically, we're using it as if it's own, as if we have fee simple in that property. So we're meeting open and notorious. That's 3 of the 5 requirements met. What do we have to meet next? The next requirement is continuous. So that means that the person has to use it, or the squatter has to use it, for the required period of time. So that's 10 years for privately owned property and 60 years for Crown-owned property. And it has to be used for that period of time in a continuous manner based on what the use of the property is. So, cutting wood. We basically cut wood every spring, summer, and fall. We've been doing that for over 10 years, so we've met the requirements there. We've met for the use that would be used. We've done it in a way that it is continuous for the time and for the nature and location of the land. So we've met continuous as well. One more requirement to meet. Our next requirement is exclusive, which means that we have to use it without regard of the true owner and all others. In other words, are we the only ones cutting wood on that property? Yes, we are. Nobody else is. The owner's not. No other person comes in and cuts wood on the property. So we're using it as if we're the true owners and nobody else uses it. Now we've met all 5 of the requirements. Does that mean that we automatically get to have adverse possession of the land? No. It means we get to make a claim for adverse possession on the land. We get to go before the judge or before the court and make our claim. How do we make our claim? Well, we have to prove that we've had actual, open, notorious, continuous, and exclusive use of that property for the 10-year period. How about the owner? What does he have to do? Nothing. He has to just wait for us to prove our claim. So it's made on the strength of our claim, not on the weakness of the owner's possession. Of course, the owner is hoping that we can't prove our claim because he doesn't want to give up possession of his property. However, if we meet all those claims and all those conditions, then the court may award us adverse possession. Now that's a lot of conditions to remember. Is there an easy way to remember? Well, I think there is. I have an acronym. So if you think about it, once upon a time, you could claim adverse possession in the registry system, but you can't any longer in land titles. So, actual for the A long time ago, if you openly and notoriously used another's property continuously for the required period of time, exclusive of all others, you could claim adverse possession in the registry system. So I just said that you can't claim adverse possession in land titles. What does that mean? Well, in land titles, you can't claim adverse possession. It's only available in the registry system. So Section 51 sub 1 of the Land Titles Act states that once property is converted into land title system, that adverse possession cannot be claimed. And 90 to 95% of land in Ontario has been converted to land title system. So what does that mean for the person who's been using somebody else's land? Are they out of luck? Well, there's an exception. There's always an exception in the law. The exception is that if you can satisfy the adverse possession requirements, so our actual, open, notorious, continuous, and exclusive requirements for a 10-year period prior to the subject property being converted into land titles, then your claim for possessory title, which was the old adverse possession, may still be successful. That concludes our module on adverse possession and possessory title. Next, go and have a look at the rest of the activities that you need to successfully complete in order to finish this module.